Hey everybody, Desert Danish here from the Desert Underground podcast, wanting to thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing and getting the word out about the Desert Underground podcast. This week, I interview Mike Rooftop Escamilla, BMX legend, all around world's most interesting dad, TV host, multiple other things, stuntman. He invited me to his awesome house in LA, and we tried something a little different this time. I'm not sure if it's a format I'm going to keep. Where we interviewed out on his back deck with a wonderful view of LA and two freeways and an airport. There's a little bit of outside noise. It was too nice of a day not to be outside. But overall, it was amazing having him on the podcast, and I hope you guys enjoy. Also, I wanted to let everybody know we now have an Instagram account, so you can like us on Facebook, Instagram at Desert Underground Podcast, and make sure you invite all your friends. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Desert Underground podcast. My name is Desert Danish. I'm here today with Mike Rooftop Escamilla.
How's it going?
I say that right?
You said it right. First try.
Cool. So do you prefer Mike or Rooftop? Or
Mike's fine.
Cool, man. So we are at your amazing house.
Well, I mean,
overlooking the town.
The view's nice.
The view is nice.
House a little rough, but it's home.
We decided to do it outside because I like the ambiance and it feels nice.
Sweet. Yeah, it is a nice place to be. This out little patio.
It truly is. But you are going to hear some people from the Burbank Hollywood Airport or whatever it's called. Was that Burbank?
That Burbank area. But you might not hear that. It's just the two freeways real close.
Oh, I love it, man. I appreciate you having me over here.
Hey, thanks for coming.
We usually talk about movies, music, and everything in between. I do have a couple things I was going to touch on with both of those.
Okay.
But also there's a lot of other stuff I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay.
If anybody doesn't know who he is a competitor for the world's most interesting man at the moment.
At least the world's most interesting dad.
World's most interesting dad. I like that. And so basically, I'm nervous, man.
Why are you nervous? Let's do this.
I don't know, man. All right. It's because I walked up a hill and I'm not used to walking. That's why I'm out of breath. Anyway, so I met you before.
You did.
I met you 2009 or 10. I don't remember exactly.
Okay, I don't feel bad. I have enough head injuries in between then to blame it on that.
Fair enough. You're going to love this, man. I met you in Basra, Iraq.
Oh, we did. Okay, I knew that actually. Right. You're right. You told me. Yes.
And
which would make it hard for me to remember.
Right.
Yeah. I feel bad now that I asked if you've been in the
military. Yeah, we were all
clearly
dressed the same. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. I just it's a lot.
So we had met on the first Bikes Over Baghdad tour.
Yep.
And I kind of wanted to touch base with you on that and find out what was like kind of the inspiration behind that. How did you get involved? And kind of push. I know there was a documentary made.
Yeah. Well, I have a few friends. One of them is Kristen Schaff, and he was doing something else where he was in a band and he started going overseas to do entertainment for the troops, and then he realized that he could bring bands over himself, and also he built a speaker setup that he could get all on Blackhawks so that we could hit the smaller bases. So then he started bringing bands over, and he did that for years, and then he met a buddy of mine, Nate Wessel, who's a ramp builder, and they sort of concocted a plan to do this, sort of bring bikes over. So what it is we'll go overseas to these bases, and we'll actually build an entire skate park pretty much at a base and then do a demo on the base. And for a while, we were like the number one requested show in the armed forces. And we did it for, I think the last show that was done was last year. I don't know if I went on that one or not. But I've been over maybe like 10 to 15 times, maybe. For a while, it was like 2 times a year. It was good.
And that whole show. So being, I had been there. 2004 was my first tour. People came out like 50 Cent and Rob Schneider and Joe Millionaire, because that was a thing, and the Miller Lite Twins, and there was always people coming through the USO trying to entertain us. I think David Allen Greer came out that year. He's pretty funny. Nothing was as exhilarating and as fun as the Bikes Over Baghdad tour.
Oh, well, thanks.
And I caught it 2 days. You did 2 days
in Basra, I believe.
Yeah.
That was our first tour, I think. That might have been the first time we went out, but in 2008 or 2009, one of those.
Yeah, I think it was 2009.
And it was the Basra. I actually remember Basra because we had a big T-wall we were doing stuff on, I believe, right? I foo-fanooed it. Osato Canadian picked it. It was pretty rad. It was a pretty eye-opening experience. It was a lot of growth went on in those years getting to see that.
Oh, maybe I didn't mention you're a pro BMX.
Oh yeah, so I'm a pro BMX. I'll run it down. So I'm a professional BMX bike rider traditionally for the last 20 some odd years. I'm also a TV host. Had a few shows, and I'm also a stuntman, which is what I basically do for a living now.
And that's a wild ride, man. I would imagine.
Oh, which one?
All of them.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a few fun ones.
And then, so basically, to go from I don't know if I read recently or heard something about someone was telling you like not to go on all these other ventures while you were a pro BMXer, or
yeah, I mean, in the '90s it was a lot different. Now any pro can kind of do what they want, but in the '90s in BMX they didn't. I got a lot of backlash for doing a lot of other things than just because I snowboarded a lot and I did a bunch, surfed and did a bunch of stuff, and that was sort of looked down upon by a certain group of people, and it sort of I got a lot of backlash from that.
And it's kind of like, can't put baby in the corner, man. I got to get out there.
Yeah, and now it's like you can't find a pro who doesn't do something else.
Right.
Yeah.
And so some of the, what was the show on Spike? Because I missed
Not Spike,
that.
Fuel.
Oh, Fuel.
So I had a show on Fuel
Sorry
called
about that.
Strangers in Danger. And that was where it was me and another guy named Zach or Catfish. And we traveled around to countries and did things specific to that country, whether it was eat the food, work the jobs, do the traditions, do the rituals. So a lot of people would compare it to Jackass, but I don't think it was anything like that because they were just making stuff up and just getting wrecked. We would go to these countries and do things specifically that they were doing. I mean, it was comical just the same, but because we didn't know how to do the jobs or whatever.
Right.
But I mean, we would go and we'd do dangerous stuff. I've tamed cobras. I've wrestled bears. I've had balloons shot in my mouth by special forces, with M40s. I've rode bulls. I've rode horses. I've cleaned windows on like a swing, a rope, and like a wooden swing in Korea. I've been to the DMZ. I've in Vietnam we like went and found unexploded ordnances that were left from the war and like blew them up. We did a lot of dangerous stuff.
And you've blown up a few times, right?
What do you mean?
With the bomb suit or whatever?
Yeah. So I've been the bomb suit a bunch, and then we've shot a bunch of other TV stuff where like I actually tested the bomb suit, and we're 3 55-gallon drums of fuel blew up like 10 feet from me, and then a bunch of smaller bombs, but enough to knock me down.
Right. So your head's doing good, right?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
And then so the other thing is movies. So you do stunt work. I know you had a talking line in Paul Blart, right?
Yeah, in Paul Blart, I played one of the bad guys, so I was in the movie about 45 minutes before I got Scooby-Dooby-Dooed out. That was the line he
and it
used
was
before he killed
you
me.
and Rick Thorne and
me,
and
Rick
someone
Thorne, and Jason Ellis. Yeah.
That's great, man.
Yeah, it was good. And Mike Vallely.
Oh, that's right. Mike was in that.
Yeah, Mike V was in it.
Yeah, he was in The Hangover, too.
Yeah, that's how he got that job.
Fucking A, man. So what is it that you've done that kind of resonates the most with humanity? You know, where you go off and you're doing these things. There's got to be some sort of human element to it where you're seeing other cultures and whatnot.
I mean, the Stranger in Danger show was we went to, I think there was 28 episodes. So we went to 28 or 30 countries. And we got to do things that you wouldn't be able to get to do if you were a tourist or work jobs. So by far, Strangers in Danger was like most, that invoked the most growth in me as a person, I think, and how I view the world, and how I view people who maybe are rich or people who are poor, and if that really affects your happiness, and seeing how hard people work with nothing and are so happy, and seeing how hard people work that have everything and still aren't happy, and vice versa. I think for sure Strangers in Danger would be it. It's just, I got to be a part of something very special and work jobs with people in a very real and human way. That we got to connect with them on certain levels that is hard to find. So I for sure it would be that.
That's awesome, man. The show you did with Catfish, right?
Yeah, that's it.
And so you talk about like eating the different foods, and
Yeah.
I know he's very prone to throwing up.
And we found out on that show that I can eat anything.
Oh, fancy.
I can eat anything. We also did, so we go to these and we would eat terrible things, and he would throw up every time, multiple times. And then we did another show after that, like a 3D like eating show or 360 eating show, and it was it was the worst foods you could think of in the world.
Oh,
like
good
some
Lord.
of them were some of them I could only compare to being like having your mouth tear gassed. So it is a terrible. I can eat anything, which is, I don't know if that's a good thing, but it's definitely terrible.
It's a survival skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually caught up with Catfish. He was doing the Nitro Circus stuff, and I was like, "Hey, man, look, a picture of us from like 10 years ago."
Oh, he was stoked, I bet.
He was like, "Holy shit, man, come on!" So we ended up hanging out a little bit that night, but I was in Bakersfield, and that was a couple-hour drive home that night, and had to work the next day.
Oh, that's cool.
But-
They did a Nitro show in Bakersfield?
Yeah,
Whoa.
it was. I think it's probably the only one.
Probably, yeah.
But
That's cool.
yeah, they were doing their North American tour last year, and they threw some tickets to Vet Tix, and
Oh, rad.
I was able to get in. And then it was just made it even better because Catfish was there, and I was just like,
Yeah.
I got to hang out with him.
That's cool. That's really cool.
But if we didn't eat anything weird,
No, he doesn't really, he's not into that. But because he pukes on everything. I mean, if you fart in a car, he'll puke. That's the way he is.
oh, fantastic, man. So I was going to ask about the whole, back in the 90s, things were a lot different. Like if you wanted to see like certain clips of different bikers and I was a skateboarder, so
Okay.
I looked at that stuff a lot more. But during that point in time, you had a video would have to come out or something like that, and now you've got the YouTube phenomenon, Instagram, everything, and it almost seems like you have to keep relevant by putting.
Well, I mean, you'd have to, as a kid, I wouldn't see anything. You'd see stuff like once a year, like one video come out a year, and then you might not even get it. You have to wait till one of your friends gets it or got passed down or something. But now it's definitely changed things. And I mean, there's an argument either way, like for the better or for the worse, right? Like for the better, it's a lot easier to get your stuff out there. You're in control of your own destiny. Kids can get good and everyone can see it, right? Which is great. On the bad, it's sort of made everything not special, right? Like guys who work a year to film a video part, it's for about a day, it's talked about, and then it's just on to the next guy. Instead of this video that comes out that's talked about for a year or 6 months, So it does take a little bit of the special away, but at the same time, for some people it's an outlet that they can reach anyone who they can get a hold of, which is pretty cool.
And and you get to reach everybody right away.
Yeah.
And there's people in England, and there's people in South America and everywhere else, and they're going to see it right then.
It also it pushes progression because there's a thing that's like as soon as you can see it, you can do it, right? If you see someone else do it, then it's a lot easier to do than never seen someone do it. So now, because you used to someone invent a trick, and then it would take 3 to 9 months for everyone to see it by the time the tapes got around, And so you could be sitting on a trick that no one even knew you could do for a year, And now it's like if I invented a trick today, someone could, and it came out at noon, someone could have learned it by 6 p.m.
Because they knew it was possible.
And everyone's so good these days.
And then once they know it's possible and that they can do it, then they can progress it, and then
Yeah.
the next guy and the next guy.
To me, creativity will always outmatch talent because there's plenty of talented people just doing what everybody else is doing better, but there's not a lot of creative dudes who are changing how you look at something,
And at the end of the day, it's just a delivery method.
Yeah,
I mean, the same stuff's happening just quicker now.
Yes,
And,
exactly.
And in that respect, it's fantastic, and it's cool seeing all the stuff people are doing now too.
Yeah,
So-
it's crazy. The stuff people are doing now is. I mean, I'm glad I'm not trying to be a pro now.
Right, and because there is more, like I can go right now and pull off some crazy shit and then post it, and then next thing you know, I'm a pro.
Yeah, and then unfortunately, that is how it works lately. But I mean, it's one of those ones. Like I said, there's good and bad. Unfortunately, because it's just like you can find a kid who's kind of good, and all of a sudden he's a pro, and you're like, which he maybe not necessarily is at a pro level, and that's great that he's doing it. But at the same time, it makes all the other pros that have been putting in a lot of work and are really skillful, puts them it just waters them down and makes them not worth as much. You're putting them on the same pedestal,
Yeah.
But at the same time, you may have never been seen if that didn't happen. Maybe you deserve to be pro. And it may have never happened, because you live in some town in the middle of nowhere and you can't, you never leave.
Right.
So.
And, fortunately, this is a big city, but I live in a 27,000 person town where...
There's 27... Sorry. I'm yawning a bunch, guys. I didn't get much sleep last night. There's 27,000 people out there?
Yeah.
I wouldn't even have thought that much.
Yep.
I mean, he lives in the middle of nowhere. It's a town I stay in when I go up to Death Valley, and I stay there the night before so I can get a full first day.
Right. Yeah. It's and I think it's grown since I was a kid.
And you grew up there?
Yeah.
Oh man, and you're still there?
Well, my dad lives there, so I try to help him out.
Got it.
I hang out with him. Plus, I got a good job, so.
Yeah, this podcast, I'm sure, right? That's a job you have?
No.
I was just kidding.
Definitely not. Oh, please sponsor me. So the other thing I've seen you doing a lot lately is your kind of aftercare of your body once you've abused the crap out of it.
Well, this year, I didn't realize it happened, but what year is it?
2019 now.
So 2017, I had a crash that I didn't realize was so bad, but I fell about, 12 feet or so, like crashed from like where the falling point was to where I ended up. And I was like, I twisted my legs over, like kind of scissored them over. And it caused an injury in my back that progressively got worse over the months. And then I believe my L1 is twisted like 45 degrees one way. I don't have those exact numbers, right?
Sure.
My L2 is, I believe it's the L2.
I mean, twisting it 1 degree would be...
I don't know if it's 40
too much.
My L1 is twisted a ton, one direction. My L2 is bulge, and my L3 is twisted the other way. So it kind of caused like a traffic jam in my back, and I couldn't get anyone to figure out what was wrong with it. And so I was just like, what can I do? Like all the things you think. I got a hot tub. I got a sauna. I put an ice bath in. I put an outdoor shower. I put all these things in. And I sit in the ice bath every day, once or twice a day for a few minutes. And it has made a difference. But now I've got my back under control now. I got a guy, an acupuncturist actually. And it's made all the difference in the world. I've maybe gone 7 or 8 times to him over the last month and a half. And my back's like 80% better.
That's awesome, man.
It's awesome.
So there's like a couple different like skills or jobs, aftercare stuff. So there's like acupuncture and chiropractor and things like that, where people kind of are like, well, that's not real medical stuff.
Oh, it's real.
And that. But if it's in your head and it works, who cares?
I mean, here's my advice to anyone looking to if they got injuries, explore every option. It's not going to hurt you. I was at the time of my back, I was about ready to go get stem cells injected into me because I didn't know what to do before I found this acupuncture guy, and I put the stem cell on hold because I feel like I'm getting progress here, there is something to everything, and if it's placebo effect, then I'll take it.
Exactly.
But like if anybody's dealing with an injury, just be proactive. It's like when people tell me like, oh, I can't ski anymore, I blew my knee out and I can't ski anymore. I'm like, I've had 6 knee surgeries and I snowboard. Like, it's all mental. You know what I mean? Like sometimes there's an injury that just stops it, but most times if you have a good surgeon, your knee's gonna get back together. You just have to like get on the program to get it back to that spot. And a lot of people just would rather keep it weak, and baby it, not worry about it because they don't want it to happen again. And I get that. But any injury, be proactive. Get working on, like if you rolled your ankle, don't sit around for 6 or 7, 8 weeks and just wait for the swelling to go down. Go see a physical therapist. Have them push that swelling out. Use some of the new technology they have that can really, help with inflammation. And some of it's a little bit uncomfortable, but you get back on your feet and you get moving.
Do you use like a TENS unit as well?
I do. I have a TENS unit called Power Dot, and it's actually it's amazing. It's wireless.
Oh, wow.
So you can put it on your back, and all the controls are from your phone through Bluetooth. And they have all these different functions, all these different like programs and stuff, setups to what you want, and all for different parts of your body and everything. It shows you how to put them on, and it's really like the Power Dot is a game changer in my.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into that now.
Yeah, it's great. It really is so good.
So. Yeah, I didn't want to complain too much because I was walking up your hill and I'm like, I know this guy's got way more injuries than I do. So, but I got the bad back, the bad knee, bad shoulder.
You can get in the ice bath if you want. It's only about 35 degrees right now.
Oh, I want to.
You can if you want. You can stick your ankle in there. You can do anything. You can at least put your hand in there later and see how it feels.
Oh, absolutely. And so, I don't have the ice bath stuff yet, but definitely considering it. Hey, you're good.
Pause. What's up, baby? I love you too, sweetheart. Thanks. Is that it? Okay. You still watching your stuff? What?
I want to sit on your lap.
No, you can sit here if you want, but you can't. But you got to be quiet, okay? All right. If you want to talk to me, tap my shoulder, and then we'll talk, okay? All right. We'll see how good this goes.
All right, no problem.
Yeah.
So, I'm considering coming up with other ways and to change my mental, like, how I look at it. Because I'm hurt, but I can do stuff.
It really is mental. You've got to decide, okay, it's not comfortable getting in the ice bath. It actually, I miss it now, and I don't when I miss a day. And every time I go stand in it, that's my daughter, everybody. Luna, can you say hi? The dog licked her in the air. Every time I stand and look in the bath like I'm going to get in, I'm like, son of a bitch. I got to get in this thing. But you know what? That's when I get in. Because I feel like things like when we get our age, we lose the will to just do things. When younger, you're like, I'm doing this now. And so half the thing with the ice bath is mentally. I'm mentally training myself other than physically trying to do something. Like, I'm deciding this is something I don't want to do. I know it's better for me. I'm going to do it now. I'm just going to get it and do it. And you get in the ice bath, and it's miserable for about 20 seconds. And it's, but then you turn into like a miserable zen. And you just, it's something that's really, 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 it's been really helpful for me.
And you did 2 minutes in there the other day.
Yeah, I did 4 yesterday.
Ooh.
But two's not the harm. I usually go somewhere between 2 and 4. I base it on, I stopped basing it on time and started basing it on how my body felt.
Right. It'll let you know.
Because my body's been changing, yeah. What is it?
Can I play chalk over there?
Yes, right over there, right in front of the gate, okay? On the white, okay? Sorry. My daughter is, she's really the light of my life, to be honest with you. And she's, I'm sure that's what all dads sound like, but she's just, I don't know what other 5-year-olds are like, but she's so curious. And, she'll wake up and be like, Dad, what's a cave? Can we go to one? Dad, I want to go to a waterfall. Dad, the other day or a few months ago, she asked me, she's like, Dad, can I have a rock climbing wall in my room? And then
I've been waiting for this.
Well, but I also was like, I don't know if she was serious. I didn't want to build it and then have her not use it. And then about a week for her birthday, she's like, Dad, where's my rock climbing wall at? So she's pretty cute. Can you see her there?
Yeah.
She's in the white, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Just right there, baby. All right. And it's not super easy to do a podcast when you have a 5-year-old because they ask questions about every 90 seconds. So I'm pretty proud of her. She's been pretty good.
Yeah. And she's always welcome on the podcast.
She'll take it over, man.
So did you put the rock climbing wall in?
Yeah, we have a rock climbing wall in a room, and we have a rock climbing wall in the room, which she climbs she's probably on it like 3 times a week or something.
And it had a bell on it.
It has a bell at the top?
Yeah, there's a bell that sometimes I'll tape money to, or snacks or treats, and then she'll come in and see it, and then climb up and get it. Here you go. Okay, thank you.
That's cool, though.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, she's actually gotten in the ice bath.
Really?
She got in there.
Oh, she got in there with you, right?
Yeah, she got in there with me, which she was shocked to see.
I feel like a stalker. I see all your photos.
No, well,
on
that's
Instagram.
how it is now. It's really weird with Instagram because, if you follow somebody, you feel like you know everything about them. But yeah, she gets in there. She gets in the hot tub. She doesn't really like the sauna. I mean, she doesn't like the ice bath now. She'll put her feet in there as a joke or her legs. And it's more like, oh my gosh. She doesn't really like the sauna. I can't
believe I would do this.
Yes. She doesn't like the sauna too much. It's just too hot for her.
Right.
And then the outdoor shower, she'll just sit in there for a half hour and play.
I did notice not the sauna, but there's a steam room that I go to at the gym. And that's what that is. Oh, is it? Okay.
It's like you pour water on rocks and it steams.
Gotcha.
So I don't really like the dry ones.
Yeah, the dry ones.
If I wanted to go to a dry sauna, I'll just sit in my car in Riverside.
Right.
I can just sit in my car in Ridgecrest in the summer. What is it?
Do you want to see my window?
Yeah, baby, I have to finish this. Okay. So draw it all, and then when we're done, we'll check it out. Okay. Thank you.
We'll keep it shorter this time.
Well, no, it's fine. I just sorry, it makes more work for you.
So, we were talking about saunas and steam rooms. The dry ones easily, it's 120 out there.
Yeah,
during
just
the
sit in
summer.
your car with the windows up.
So yeah, about 130 in the car, 140, whatever it is. I'm so not into heat.
Yeah, this is different though. This is like a wet steam. Like
I've seen something like this before.
So it's I really like it, man. I honestly go in there for 12 to 15 minutes, and anything that's tight, it's pretty much undone. And then when I get out of the ice, man, I really feel like $1,000,000, a frozen $1,000,000, but $1,000,000.
I would imagine so. And so, for those of you that don't know, the ice bath is a top lid freezer.
Yeah, the freezer is just the ice bath is just a freezer that I caulk the inside, fill it with water, and I plug it in about 4 hours. Once it gets cold, I plug it in about 4 hours a day to keep it cold. It sort of creates its own ice on top, and I break it up. It's when other people usually have like a big bucket and they fill it with ice, but it requires too much effort, right? Like I'm trying to do this and make it part of my routine, which also means make it as quick as possible. And when you have that whole bucket thing, you've got to go get ice. You know what I mean? You're like, and you're buying a lot of ice, or if you have an ice maker, it requires filling it up every time and doing all that work. This one, I change the water usually like once every 2 weeks, once every 10 days.
Do you just siphon it out, or
no? There's a drain.
Oh, okay.
And so we can do that, and or I base it on how much it gets used. You know, it's just me using it. I'll sit in my own filthy water, but it's not really filthy. It's literally the only thing in there that's dirty is sort of like whatever you pick up on your feet.
Right.
So, but yeah, the water sits at about 32, 31, 30 degrees. I put a lot of Epsom salt in there. It helps it not freeze a little bit and makes it smell real good. But it's yeah.
And then, so you usually you have the hot tub, and then you go to that.
Well, sometimes it depends on the day and what the injury is.
Oh, so some days you just go in there, and then
sometimes I just go in the ice bath, and then sometimes I just go in the ice bath and get out, and end with an ice bath. I usually try to always end with an ice bath. Some days I'll go sauna to ice bath to hot tub to ice bath, and then end with the shower in between just to get. Or I'll go to the shower before I get in the ice bath. I mean, it sounds silly that I have all this stuff, and it's all within like a 10-foot radius of each other. But I just been spending. My back was so bad.
And you were driving really far to get cryotherapy, right?
Yeah, I was. Well, driving a couple towns to do cryo. It's like more than an hour round trip. But the cryo, I don't think it. I feel like it's a little bit different than what you get out of it. Like it's definitely something positive, but I think it's more of a trend. It's like an easy way to put the work in without having to put the work in.
And so what exactly?
So you get in there and I forget how cold it is, but it's cold.
Right.
Well over 100, negative 100. 150, maybe I don't know, whatever it is. You do it for 3 minutes, but here's what I feel like it helps and what it doesn't help. I don't feel like it helps things that are deep down inside, right? It doesn't get your core cold. It just
more
gets,
superficial stuff.
Yeah, it gets like superficial. So my regular everyday aches and pains gone away. But more importantly, which I felt like were the bigger things I noticed, is that about a week and a half in from doing it every day, it's expensive too, right? Like you can buy like passes where maybe it's $300 and you do it every day for a month or something. Well, then it's doable, right? It's like a doable. You can accept that.
Sure.
But that's a commitment to your time. But basically it helps with superficial aches and pains, but it also makes your skin look really good because it's basically promoting collagen growth, and it actually puts me in a really good mood. This thing puts me in a good mood. It does. There's so many benefits from it, but to be honest with you, like I said, like 50% of why I have it is that mental training to just decide I'm doing this now. I'm getting in, and I'm doing it on my own, and no one has to tell me. I mean, that bath's hard to get in when there's people here. It's a lot harder to get in when there's no one here. When you're just doing it by yourself,
you got someone egging you on. Yeah. You're like, okay,
or you're both doing it. You're like, all right, we got it. Here we go. But sometimes, like yesterday, there was no one here, and I got in, and I think I did 4 minutes in it yesterday, and I think I actually could have done a lot longer. I actually took a Wim Hof class, and Wim Hof is a guy, if you want to Google it, it's WIMHOFF, and he's a guy who's he's all about cold therapy, and he actually climbed Everest in shorts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like he can actually regulate his body temperature. He can sit in that ice, and you can hook machines up to him, and his body temperature will not go down. Oh, wow. It's crazy. So I took a class from him after I was doing this for a couple months, and really sort of learned a lot about what he's doing, and I've been trying to use some of those techniques he used, and that might be why I can stay in a little longer now, because I the only part that really starts to get cold are my toes, and that's the part where I get worried I'm going to damage them. I don't even know how long you have to be in to damage them, but once they start hurting, I'm like, I'm past it where I should be.
Right.
But I've been working on doing these techniques to sort of not allow that to happen. So yeah, it's good.
So trying to think how long you would need to be in there to get your toes.
I don't know, but I mean, people will like get in the water, like, oh my god, I'm gonna get hypothermia. I'm like, you're not getting hypothermia for being in the water for 1 minute. You're fine.
I wasn't going to be able to make it out because my kid was visiting and I was hanging out with her. But I was actually going to hit you up to do the polar bear plunge.
Where is it?
There was one in Santa Monica or something recently.
What did they do it in the ocean?
It was on New Year's. It was like, start your New Year's off right.
Oh, and that's probably not even that cold.
I don't know.
Probably in the 40s or something. That's cold, but.
I know one of your buddies, BK, up in Chicago.
Yeah, Brian. Yeah.
I know he does them once in a while.
Yeah, he does them.
But that's cold.
Yeah, I've done a couple. I've done one in Kazakhstan. We did a polar bear plunge where we actually had to walk like 45 minutes out into this valley, and it was right next to a hot spring, so you could get in the cold and then spray it. Which you would have to do for how far away you are. Well, maybe not. Maybe now I have a different mental, like, prepared for it. And then I've done another one on New Year's in Vancouver. They do a polar bear plunge in one of the bays, and I've done that one.
It's a gorgeous city.
Yeah, Vancouver's beautiful.
Yeah, well, I lived up in Tacoma, so it was just a 4-hour drive.
Yeah.
And, man, they got some...
When did you live in Tacoma?
For about 12 years when I was in the Army stationed there.
Oh, wow.
So,
did you follow BMX at all before this? Before the Bikes of Baghdad?
I used to play you in a video game.
Oh, okay. Well, there's another guy, Taj, and he had a skate park in Tacoma probably about the same time.
No, I don't remember. But yeah, that was also trippy too, to just see you and Chad and a bunch of other people. Like, I was like, I played them in video games. It's crazy.
Yeah, I wish someone would make another video game.
Yeah, I'm the same way with like the skateboarding games too. I'm like, kind of jonesing for one, but
I think there's a new game coming out, a skate game. I don't know what it's called. I think it's the barracks has something to do with it, but it looks pretty crazy.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been kind of off the video game thing lately.
I don't play video games.
Yeah, it's more fun to do this stuff, right?
Yes,
it is. But see, in my head, whenever I was like, I'm too fat to skate, or I'm this or that. For me, I'm like dreaming that it's me.
Got it.
As the guy. So like, I don't play, a lot of other, fantasy games or this or that.
Yeah.
I was just like, I just want to be doing that. So I play like the motocross stuff and the skateboarding games. But I like I said, I kind of like where your head's at, where it's like, you've had all these knee injuries, but you're still not going to let it stop you.
I mean, there's things that I definitely like. I can only go snowboard like a day or two.
You know your limit, though.
Yeah, before I have to give it a rest. You can feel it, So, yeah, I mean, there are definitely injuries that'll stop some things. But, like, I mean, I have 6 knee surgeries, and I'm still snowboarding. I'm still doing everything I would do. But, I mean, there are time limits now on my knee, how long my knee will last before it starts to fatigue. And you just have to be aware of that, and hopefully don't injure it again. But the idea that something's going to... I'm not going to let the idea that just because something happened, it stops me from doing what I do, unless it really is the end of the rope, But even then, there's always a way if you want to do it. Nowadays it's still so much easier for people to not do it.
So my dad, he's 74. He was a health teacher, weightlifting instructor his whole life. And so he retired, and now it's been about 15 years or something like that. And he's still in amazing shape, goes to the gym every day. He's had his shoulders, because he used to bench like 325, like the real heavy stuff. And his shoulders got jacked up like bad.
I bet.
In fact, I'm taking him down for his like 7th replacement here soon.
Shoulder replacement.
Yeah, complete. So back in the 80s, they used to cut you from here, from about mid bicep all the way up to your collarbone. And then they recut the same thing when he had it the next time. Each one's been done a few times. And then now he's got it to where he's reversed the joint. So now the ball and the cup are in different places. And then his keeps slipping out lately. So we're sitting at lunch, and he's like, shoulder slipped out.
Gnarly.
But it's not the same because it's a metal and plastic joint. So it's not quite the same as if you had slipped it out without that stuff. But I'm sure you still feel it pretty bad.
I mean, stuff's moving inside your body. Anytime you move anything around inside your body and manipulate it, it's going to be painful.
But he says about 10 times a day it comes out. Just doing normal stuff, just sitting around. And the guy, I just, I admire him. But I'm also kind of like, I'm trying to like hold back a little bit, because I'm like, I don't want to get to that point where I'm constantly having to get surgeries or this or that,
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things, like, it's just part of what I do. So there's no really getting around it.
Right.
This is it.
Right. And so, I see him and I'm like, I don't want to go to that level where, he's just doing what he loves to do. He's played tennis his whole life and he weightlifted. In fact, he still goes to the gym every day. He gets me out there about once a week or twice a week. I go out with him and he's still benching more than I am. And I'm not I'm not weak. There's muscle under the, I can push a decent amount, but he's still got me by 10 pounds every time. And it's his head.
It's in your head, but it's also one of those things where you keep doing it. It's like people who see Tony Hawk. I mean, Tony's 50-something.
Right.
And it's like, it's like, you're like, well, how can you do that at 50? I'm like, well, he doesn't stop. Keep doing it mentally. You stay sharp about it. And you just, as your body holds up, you're good. Excuse me.
And if it's your life, it's what you do.
It's what your life. Yeah, if it's your life, it's your life.
You're not programmed to do anything else.
I mean, I've had so many doctors and people tell me like, well, when are you going to find something else to do? Like maybe you need to look into a profession. You're so hurt all the time, and it's like, well, you're a doctor. You're around sick people all the time. Should you quit doing that because you could get sick?
Right.
Like, get out of here.
Like get out of here. I'm going to go throw up with Catfish.
Well, I mean, it's time for me to find another doctor because I can't have that.
Yeah, but there is a limit, and knowing it is kind of really what it comes down to. Is not to push it past where its capabilities of or
just be prepared. Just like the more prepared you are, whether it is physically or mentally or knowledge wise, then you're always gonna have a better chance of not being hurt and being more prepared and having less things happen.
Because I had a doctor tell me like, well, work on all the muscles around your knee. It'll help stabilize it a lot more, and then obviously I have.
Yeah.
So, but man, that's great. So you got the ice bath, the sauna, the hot tub, and I'm sure you're constantly doing things that are physical.
I mean, I'm riding bikes or I'm snowboarding or I'm skydiving or, to be honest with you, just running around with my daughter is enough.
Right.
But I definitely fall into times where I'm not being active enough because some of those things are bursts of energy and they're not sustained. So, I'm always losing weight and gaining weight and losing weight and gaining weight. But I could serve to be a little more active lately. I've been pretty busy around the house putting all this stuff in and building stuff and fixing stuff. Moved into a house that needed to fix a lot of stuff up. And so that's sort of slowed me down a little bit, but it's pretty fulfilling stuff, so it's good.
It's good, man. It'll give you a happier place when you do sit down and stop doing as much. And so you used to take these photos that I used to see where you would lay out everything.
Like a pocket drop.
Right. Is that what that's called?
I think so.
Those were cool, man. You were going. I remember I'd never really seen anybody or knew or heard of anyone that had an FJ Cruiser at the time.
Yeah.
And I know you had that, and you were doing.
I did one with a drone.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I think that's the first one because you see people now do it. They'll lay all their camping gear out. As if people lay their gear out, and they'll be also laying in it next to them. I mean, it's hard to claim anything, but like I had never seen one before that, because we were coming back from Arizona. I was shooting the Dodgers. I shoot photos sometimes. I was shooting the Dodgers for New York Times, and me and my buddy came back. My buddy Paul, we pulled over in this field, and we did one of those. We unloaded the whole car with the FJ was in it. We shot one with a drone.
I just remember, and then I think there was probably about 4 or 5 around that time where you were just laying things out. And is that you're still going strong with the I forget what they're called. I'm sorry. The packs that you do with Christian?
Uncharted Supply Co. So I do. I am a co-founder in a company called Uncharted Supply Co. And it's a survival bag, like kind of like an emergency to-go bag. And not even to toot their horn about the company. It is by far it's the best one of those available on the market. It's a market that didn't have a ton of options, and the options they were like it was either like a blow dart gun and some Band-Aids, or it was like SEAL Team 6.
Right.
Like it was either a bunch of stuff that was not going to help you or stuff that you'd never need. So we've got a bag. It's called the 72. And the reason it's called the 72 is because 95% of all survival situations are solved in the first 72 hours. Right? So this bag will keep you alive for 72 hours. Water filtration, food, shelter, everything you could think of it's got in there. And it's in a pack that's in a waterproof pack. And when you pull the insert out that holds all the 30-some odd tools that you would need, all the directions are screen printed on there, because a lot of times when you're in emergency situations, you're frantic and you open up, you're like, oh my God, what do I do? So this has everything on there. We also have a couple other packs, and We have some jackets and things like that, but it's doing good. You know, it's like any business. But it's a constant move forward. We're pretty proud of it.
Yeah, and I know there's a video where you guys are going through it and stuff like that. I'll throw that up on the website.
Cool,
if
thank you.
Check it out. But what was it's like the inspiration for that? Just because you were just going on all these adventures and you thought like, oh crap, I need this or this or.
Well, so the founder Christian, he's the same guy we go to Bikes or Baghdad with. He came up with the idea, and then he involved me in it. Thought I could help out, and dude, he had a pretty good idea of what he wanted to do with it, and I help mold and craft some of those ideas. Shape the ideas he had, just a little fine tune them a bit until we came up with the pack we had. But it's one of those things that like everyone should have, especially living in places like California when you get an earthquake or something, or any area that you're in an area where honestly you should put one in your car. That way it's with you, whether it's parked at home or at your office, because you never know. This isn't like a zombie apocalypse clip or a zombie apocalypse like bag. Or
the go bag,
or like an end of the world bag. This is like a everyday bag, and there's stuff in there like even if you're in a car accident. I mean, look at it. On Sunday, I was first there with another car of a truck that went off the road, and it flew off. Brakes went out, and it flew off a mountain road, and we had to climb down to it.
Oh wow!
And it was too critical condition, but a lot of all my medical stuff from my 72 all got used. And it was right there, and it helped, until the first responders showed up.
So you field testing it too.
Yeah.
Dang, man. I lost my train of thought. There's a lot going on over there.
Yeah.
So are those mats for her to
those
tumble on?
Yeah.
To do gymnastics? That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you just got a tattoo of her recently.
I did.
By the infamous Nico Hurtado.
Yeah, I got a Luna tattoo. I got a pretty big tattoo. It was about 17 and a half hours on my thigh of and Nico does like realistic portraits.
Realism, yeah.
And he's one of the best in the world.
He's the man, yeah. He's the guy.
I know it's very much up to everyone's interpretation when it comes to tattoos and what kind of style you like, but it's arguably like he sort of pioneered this way of tattooing portraits, as far as I understand. And now there's other guys who do what he does, but there's nothing like an original.
Yeah.
There's nothing like an original, and he 17.5 hours. It's a okay, baby. Look, my daughter is now behind my head, want to throw darts basically over my head into the dartboard. Okay, go. All right, you get to throw those 3, and that's it. Okay, go. No, I can't do it because I don't want to get stuck.
Uh-oh.
See, this is why, because you almost threw it. That almost stuck in Dane's foot. Okay, no more, baby. Please.
What a great story that would be, though.
Yeah. No more, please. Okay. So about 17 and a half hours.
Wow.
It's basically my daughter with sort of like Native American war makeup on and a wolf head, like a headdress.
Now, was that an actual photo or was that a
photo.
superimposed?
There was an actual photo and then some other like things that we put on because it just feather earrings and things like that.
Right.
But Luna told me that when she gets older, she's gonna get a tattoo of me on her leg, but as a pirate. And I thought that was so cute. And then I told Nico, and Nico's like, I'll do it. And, which would be pretty cool if she got it, like,
Right.
But he also said something else that...
yeah, someone's banging
on something. He also said something else that really was cool, was she said she wanted to make you as a pirate because that's how she sees you. Which is pretty cool,
Oh, I wish my kids saw me like that.
Yeah.
When I take the picture, I put the photo.
All right, everybody, welcome back from our little break. So basically, with all the things that you've done, what's next for you? Like keep pushing limits and
there's what's next is always hard because I always want to keep hopefully doing more stunt work. We're always constantly possibly there's a TV show, but I do have some. It's like that's kind of a hard question for me because some stuff I do have some stuff that I'm working on or I want to work on, but I also don't want to let those out of the bag.
of course,
Sure. But
getting your house where you wanted to get it.
Yeah,
and,
but I mean, I just think I'm working on stuff that just has to do with sort of using all the skills and connections I've been building unintentionally over the last 20 years. So we have a few things we're working on possibly that possibly we could more in the be kind of more of an experience that I'll be hopefully facilitating for some people.
Right.
But we'll see. I mean, there's always going to be stunts, and being a dad probably is like that's the best and hardest job there is. And she makes it pretty easy, and it's just figuring out how to do that right.
I mean, it sounds like they're shoveling down there now. So the reason I asked that is because I watched that documentary the other day that Chad Keggy was in, where it's the what's next or what happens next.
I never heard of it.
Basically, so what he did is he's hurt himself a couple times. I know he broke his femurs, he broke his heels. I'm sure his back got jacked up. He was doing mega ramp BMX stuff, and on top of, doing all kinds of stuff.
He had a serious accident, and then it sort of put him out.
and he's in this. He's a small part of the documentary, but he's in it. I think it's called What Happens Next. It just came out the other day.
Oh, wow. Cool. I'll have to check it out.
I think it's on Amazon. So it's on Prime. And it's just kind of like, I don't know where it goes next. And I think a lot of people don't really know where things go, and you just kind of take the punches as they come.
I think, there's a lot of means like I don't know where it's going to go. I have a lot of like things I'd like for it to go and things I'm working on, but I've lived in my world has been a very much a hustle world for the last 20 years where it's never just one thing. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm this now, And for me, it's like, well, I'm this, and I'm this, and I'm this, and I'm this. Partly because that's what it takes to make a living, and the other half because I don't want to just be one thing. But that also makes it hard to it makes it hard to like sort of pinpoint what you are when you come to selling yourself as a brand or doing, selling yourself a certain way, because it's a lot easier to sell someone who's like, well, he's a comedian, he's a TV host. But it's like, well, he's kind of a photographer, and he's kind of a TV host, he's a stuntman, he's sort of an actor, and he does it. There's it's hard for people to like see you in one place when you're in 10.
Well, especially if you're a Renaissance man and you're doing it all.
Yeah, I like that. I like being called a Renaissance man. Rolling Stones called me that once.
Really?
Yeah, it was. I made the list for 100 most interesting people on Instagram or something like that. And I was 99. The only guy I beat was like Stephen Young, the guy, the Asian guy from Walking Dead. He's the only dude I beat, but I'll take it.
Take it, man.
And they started.
Look, how many people are in the world?
Yeah, made 100, and there was only like 5 action sports people or like athletes. There was only like 5 or 6 athletes. Right. So I made that. I was pretty. That was it was years ago, but they said a real life Renaissance man. Which, I'll take that compliment.
That's a great compliment. And, at that point, it's like, I didn't have time to read it. I was too busy doing stuff.
Yeah, totally.
And that's kind of where I've started putting myself in to a certain level where I'm like, well, I'm a dad, but my kids don't live with me all the time. So when they're not around, I'm trying to fill my time now with things because I'm got divorced a couple of years ago. And so I'm... I honestly, I kind of sit around thinking, like, gosh, I wish I was doing something else. Anytime I'm sitting at home, it just feels like alone.
Yeah, I understand. I understand that. I think you almost have to, like, I've been doing a lot of stuff around here, so I've been keeping busy. But it is a thing about, like, it's, you can either do nothing. Like, it's going to be next month. It's going to be August in 6 months anyways. You know what I mean? Like, you might as well think of all the things you could do in between, or you could just sit around and do nothing. So I think keeping busy is key to kind of happiness. I think.
Well, and
sameness.
I read something the other day that was said, it's not things that you buy, it's the experiences that are worth so much more. And, I being in the military and deployed and all that, I have some experience away from a small town in California, and I was able to move places and I was able to do things while I was at those places. Like, I was down in El Paso for a little bit. I got to go to Juarez a bunch, and it was...
gnarly.
Yeah, it was a fun...
I've never been to Juarez.
I've been there 7 times.
I've never been. I've been to El Paso sometimes,
but I live 15 minutes away, so I was like, I'll just go over and hang out for the day.
And how is it? Is it any different than going to like TJ?
Lawless.
Is it?
I would say.
Does it feel different than going to like TJ?
I've never been.
Because TJ to me there's nothing like it's
very
like,
touristy.
It just doesn't feel like everyone's like, oh, you're going to Mexico. You're like, yeah. I mean, I also think that America paints a picture of like just not even. I don't mean like now. I mean forever. That like, oh, it's Mexico. As if like you're born there and all of a sudden you're just this like, renegade or something. It's just people living their lives.
Right.
It's any place.
Now, yeah, and that's exactly. So there was, by lawlessness, I meant more like traffic wise.
Yeah, yeah. And everything's sort of the suggestion.
Zero lines in the road, zero maintenance to the road. There's people, like in Tacoma, you couldn't have certain signs on the sidewalk because it was a violation of some code. Mm-hmm. There was definitely none of that.
Which, there's something about that's really awesome. They're more intrusive than they are helpful. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you just kind of take care of your own shit.
And everyone else takes care of their own shit.
Yeah. It's like, and people are, it's like now there's so many things and everyone can sue for everything. It's like, give me a break. Like.
Right.
Yeah, so, it's heavy, pretty gnarly sometimes.
I'll tell you though, Juarez, some of the best food I ever had in my life.
Of course. It's the nectar of the gods.
And I couldn't talk Spanish very well to these guys. I went one time with my friend who spoke Spanish and was actually from there, but lived in El Paso. And so the first time we went, he did all the talking. The next time I went, I made sure I got the same waiter, and went to the kind of the same spaces and drove around a little bit. We actually drove around. At one point, we saw there was this, not really a farm or ranch. It was just kind of like a grove, of trees or plants. The guy was growing something. And there was this little mountain with a horse with a giant golden phallus just there.
Weird. They have awesome stuff.
Just random craziness that you're like, I don't know if that would work here.
Well, I mean, they're on the way down. If you drive down the coast in Baja to like Ensenada, right around Puerto Nuevo, if you look up on the hill, there's like a massive like from the waist up, maybe more now. Like I don't mean massive, I mean the size of a house, like naked lady. It's like part of the side of this person's house is like a giant breasts and a giant head.
Like painted or
no,
sculpted?
Like it's sculpted. Like it's like the side of the house.
It's in the round, man.
Yeah, it's that stuff would never fly, but it's people got more things to worry about than the naked lady on the hill.
Yeah, it's definitely a different world than what we live in.
I mean, imagine looking over at the hill over there, and then one of those houses was just like the top half of a naked lady. You would just be like, sweet.
You're like, all right. I'm into that. It might actually boost the value of your home.
I boost the value of my view, that's for sure.
Well, hey, I appreciate you being on the show, Mike.
That's it? We're done?
That's it. We're done.
Sweet, man. Thanks for coming down.
I'll have to come back for round 2 sometime.
Anytime you want. You're always welcome.
But I definitely appreciate it. And
next time you come back, you got to get in the ice bath, though.
Oh, yeah. I actually am looking forward to it.
Yeah, anytime you want to come, just let me know.
I do. And
I go up through Ridgecrest a ton, so I'll let you know when I'm coming through.
Definitely, man. Thank you again for being on the podcast, and we'll catch you next time.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye. If I want to go to a dry sauna, I'll just sit in my car in Riverside. Right.